This pie chart isolates the demographics of the global 1%. 75% are entrepreneurs, 15% are investors, and exactly 0% are employees who simply earn a salary. All of these wealthy groups share a single unifying trait: ownership. Entrepreneurs own businesses, investors own assets, elite talent owns rare skills. If you do not own something, you are what is owned. To see how this plays out, imagine two people who earn the exact same average salary, same tax bracket, same cost of living. Yet one will retire wealthy, and the other will work until they die. Income level is not the deciding factor here. The first earner falls into a trap built by design. They get paid, they pay their bills, and they spend whatever is left on items that lose value instantly. They are forced to run faster and faster on a treadmill of consumption, perpetually broke by the end of the month. The second earner avoids this entirely by following a specific allocation system, the 25-15-50-10 rule. Escaping financial slavery doesn't require a lottery ticket salary. It requires systematically shifting your identity from a consumer to an owner through strategic allocation. The first 25% of your paycheck is your growth engine. Before any bills are paid, this quarter of your income is converted into assets, like broad index funds. This chart tracks the portfolio values of two different investors over a 40-year period to show the mathematical urgency of starting early. Billy starts putting away $200 a month at age 20. Phil waits until he is 30, trying to catch up by investing $300 a month. By age 60, Phil has invested a total of $108,000. Billy invested only $96,000. But with average market returns, Billy's portfolio towers over Phil's, finishing with nearly $600,000 more, due entirely to his extra decade in the market. Compounding growth only reaches its full potential if you shield it from taxation. You must use specific accounts, like a Roth IRA in the US or a Stocks and Shares ISA in the UK, where your gains are legally protected from the IRS or HMRC. Billionaire Peter Thiel leveraged this strategy by using a Roth IRA for his early tech investments, allowing billions of dollars in gains to grow and be withdrawn completely tax-free. This 25% allocation is the only money that works for you while you sleep. It separates those who build wealth from those who simply earn wages. The next 15% of your income is dedicated to stability. This is the defensive shield required to keep you in the game when a disaster strikes. When an average earner's car engine blows up, they have no cash buffer. They are forced to take on high-interest debt, breaking their finances for an entire year. An allocator absorbs that exact same blow with cash and moves on. This formula maps out exactly how much you need to build that shield. You calculate your monthly baseline by adding up your absolute bare minimum survival expenses: rent, basic groceries, and utilities. Then you multiply that number by 5. This stability fund follows very strict rules. It cannot be invested in stocks or crypto. It must sit in a high-yield savings account where it earns reliable interest, and it must be accessible within 24 hours. Without this buffer, an emergency can force a liquidation of your long-term assets, erasing years of progress in a single afternoon. 50% of your income is a strict cap for essentials. Without this limit, you fall victim to lifestyle creep, the reason over 60% of people earning 6 figures still live paycheck to paycheck, trying to look wealthy instead of actually getting wealthy. Look at our two earners again. One is dressed in expensive designer brands, but has a bank balance near zero. The allocator wears basic and expensive clothing, but sits on a deeply funded investment account. To realistically stay under this 50% cap, you have to aggressively tackle your two largest expenses: housing and transport. That means renegotiating rent, or buying a reliable, depreciated used car instead of leasing a brand new one for a monthly status hit. This flowchart tracks the decision-making process for everyday spending. When tempted by an impulse buy, you force a 7-day waiting period. Once the initial dopamine fades, you analyze whether you are paying for actual utility or just clever brand marketing. True wealth is invisible. It is defined by the financial breathing room you keep for yourself, not the luxury items you display to strangers. At this point, extreme saving can sound like a miserable way to live, but that is why the final 10% is a dedicated joy jar. 92% of people overspend after intense saving sprints. Financial discipline without a release valve feels like a punishment, and it almost always leads to burnout. You maximize this money by prioritizing shared experiences over accumulating physical clutter. You use it to fund hobbies, take a weekend trip, or bring your family to a theme park. This 10% is not a failure of discipline. It acts as a strategic cheat meal that makes lifelong financial growth psychologically sustainable. Fast forward 10 years into the future. The earner who relied on daily willpower to save a few dollars is exhausted, constantly fighting the urge to spend. The allocator operates with absolute freedom. That freedom exists because the allocator uses one final mechanism to execute the 25-15-50-10 rule, the automated paycheck sweep. This diagram shows the process in action. The exact moment a salary lands in the primary account, it instantly splits into these 4 distinct channels, routing directly into their respective vaults. It removes human emotion and temptation from the equation. The defining secret of the top 1% is that they do not trust themselves to make good choices every day. Instead, they engineer automated systems that guarantee wealth as a silent background process.